Good evening and welcome to the Twilight Hunters podcast, season 2. I am currently coming to you from the Fox Mountain Inn in Southwest Virginia. I've been hunting down here for the past week and trying to get the season restarted. I thought we'd take a good opportunity to do just that. Coming up is the first episode of season 2 after a hiatus. And kind of what I wanted to do is give a brief rundown as to life and family and kind of what's been going on in our world as we've went through 2025. So 2025 was kind of a watershed year for us. My wife accepted a position as a school principal in North Idaho, which was an interesting development as we built our house in Council, Idaho to retire in, and then turn around and sold it in 3 years. So between moving, selling the property, her taking a new job, me going back and forth because I'm still working at a police department in the West Central Mountains, and I'm having to commute a couple hours each way during the week. Kind of been busy. We've had a lot going on, and so unfortunately the podcast took a bit of a back seat, and the end of season 1 and the beginning of season 2 were extended more than I wanted them to be. The good news is we're back, and we're going to be doing this on a regular basis, and we're going to start with this season and do multiple hunt recaps. The first one I did with my son-in-law Colton, and we went through his controlled hunt tag that he and my daughter drew here in Idaho. So he's going to kind of go through his perspective of the hunt, how it went, the highs, the lows, and anything else in between. So, like I said, brief life update. And I'm glad everybody is still paying attention to this little podcast. With that, I'll sign off, and we're on to episode 1, season 2. Later, this and the other. So yeah, I'll probably give a 10 or 15 minute life update just to get people back on track. So
yeah, it's been a minute, hasn't it?
Yeah, last one was in the end of July.
Yeah.
So that was about the time I was hot and heavy into moving.
You've been busy.
I've been busy.
We've been busy.
Yeah. So that leads us into hunting season, I guess. Because yours is over.
It is.
So let's introduce you.
So my name is Colton Garner. I am Ryan Ludicky's son-in-law. Yes, I married his daughter. Born and raised in Idaho. Tried to go to school shortly after high school, and then that didn't end up working out. So I enlisted in the military. Spent some time in the Marine Corps, stationed in the glorious Southern California. We always say it was the best place to be told that you had to live. And we were kind of secluded on base, so we kind of lived in our own little towns. It was kind of nice.
It actually was.
Yeah, it's pretty. Get to enjoy the beach, less than 15 minutes away, and then still kind of feel like you're away from the side of Southern California.
Yeah, that wasn't bad.
So yeah, I moved back to Idaho in 2021. I'm in the military still here now. That's primarily what I do. Got some civilian jobs here and there, but that's always been a staple for us. So,
and then, so you didn't hunt as a kid?
I did not. No, so I grew up fishing, camping, outdoors, spending time outdoors. Was a big part of my childhood. I remember getting out of school, getting out of elementary school, getting out of middle school, Friday nights, and we were gonna. As soon as I got home, we were loading things up and getting in the van and going camping. So, and our goal was always to at least spend Friday night camping, spend Saturday morning, have breakfast, campsite, get up and fish, hike, whatever we're doing, and then be home for dinner Saturday night. Because then we were able to at least spend Saturday evening with my mom and my sisters, and then be able to have Sunday together too. So be being outdoors was always like a big thing for me throughout my childhood, but hunting was never really a part of that.
Yeah.
Hiking was, and fishing. So I've always been into animals and been into like just being outdoors in general. But yeah, it wasn't until I was 23, I think, is when I killed my first buck.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely late in the game.
Later. Well, later than some, but not late.
Yeah.
23 is not. So we went out and started hunting together in 23. That would have been 2018-ish.
Yes, was Gus born then? No, he was born in 19. So that would have been the fall before Gus.
Right, so 2018.
Yep.
So we went out, did a little bit of hunting in southern Idaho in the deserts out there, and shot a decent little fork and horn for first buck. It was cool. Kind of a fun morning.
Yeah, totally spur of the moment too, because we kind of just went out for a drive. Yeah, a license and a tag and a drive.
Yeah, go for a ride. Yeah. Doesn't always work that way. You know,
nope.
I told you that at the time.
Yeah, I think, quote unquote, we had dragged that buck into the back of the truck, and what you had said was to see.
It doesn't look like this. Yeah, this was. So that was your introduction to that. That was kind of a fun day. And then from there.
Yeah, from there, it hasn't been easy, to be honest.
No.
So I killed that buck 2018, and then 2023 was my next animal. That was a cow elk. And
we had a bit of a dry spell.
We did have a dry spell. Yeah. Just kind of scheduling and work and being here and being there, and it kind of seemed like there was always we did do some bear hunting.
We did
in between that, but
we had some dry spells.
Had some dry spell. Had some scheduling issues. There was a couple years where I didn't have it in my schedule to get out, but definitely wasn't for the lack of trying.
Sure. And then you guys moved back.
Yeah, so then we moved back in 2021. So, and then same thing. I mean, we just kind of wanted to be outdoors together. You hadn't drawn that bear tag.
I was going to say I drew that bear tag in Idaho in that controlled hunt, and we spent, I don't know, better part of a week in Hills Canyon on that tag. Yeah.
And that was shortly after you had gotten hurt, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the spring following. Yeah. Right. So that was the spring following my first surgery.
Yeah.
So that actually would have been, I think no, I drew that tag in 21. So it was because it was following my second surgery. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was following my third surgery, rather. Yeah. So I had 2020. I had two surgeries in 2020, and I had the one in the spring of 2021. That's right. Okay, so that was that tag. And then we hunted. We deer hunted that year.
We did.
And we didn't do well. We had a rough season. I
think
2021 we had a rough year.
Yeah.
I had that bear tag, and we saw a lot of bears, but nothing that really. And then
we had that last day, that last morning, that little bear that was no bigger than my black lab.
Mm-hmm. So we called him with the predator call. Yeah.
And that was actually kind of a fun experience.
Sean and I.
Yeah, because he was all about it. Was coming for it. So.
Right. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Sean Moore was my hunting partner for years, and he was on that bear hunt with us. He was on a podcast talking about sleep deprived a little bit this summer. So he was on that hunt, and we called in that little bear with the predator call. That was funny. Within, I don't know, I think I had that bear within 10 yards of me at one point. I could arrow it.
Yeah.
So, and then deer season was a bust. Then I had the muzzleloader tag. I ended up shooting a cow with that muzzleloader tag in the fall. I kind of been on I don't want to jinx it, though. I really don't want to jinx it. Yeah, let's do that. I've been on a little bit of a hot streak with that late December tag here.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit of a hot streak. So I'm hoping it continues this year because my freezer, she's empty. Yeah. So
that's what happens when you gotta get busy and get to moving. You end up putting all your meat on your kids, and we don't ask any questions when that happens.
Yeah, so. Just send it down the rabbit hole. I mean, that was the year that we built the house.
Yeah.
That following summer.
Yeah.
And so
summer 23.
So we hunted fall 21.
Mm-hmm.
And then we moved up there into the West Central Mountains. We moved up there in February of 22.
Yeah.
Spent the winter.
Yeah, because
we spent the winter at the cabin. That was an interesting.
And we did hunt the cabin that year too. Fall 22.
Because you drew the tag.
I did. Yep.
And also had a rough.
Awesome.
Had a rough. And that was partly because your schedule sucked. That's you. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then 22, we built a house all year.
And we did not hunt that spring.
No, we did not
build a house. Yeah.
And then we hunted a little bit in October.
Mm-hmm.
And that didn't pan out so good. So we really got our shit back together in 2023.
Mm-hmm. And I think that was a pretty good year for you too, wasn't it?
So 23 was a year. I drew the tag in, no, it hasn't. No, it was 24 you shot that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So 2023, I hunted Montana and Utah. And you actually, you actually soloed it up here.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was hot. It was hot and shitty. The weather was hot and bad. Didn't see a lot. And you were solo. So it was made it a little tougher. So.
Yeah.
So go back to, so now let's correct ourselves. So then everything, 24, you drew that elk tag. You drew that cow tag.
I did, yes. That's
okay. So that was our next real.
That was the year I was thinking about that I was insane. Because you had that North Idaho tag too.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, and then Alaska Dave had the big buck tag.
Yep.
So we kind of had, I mean, amongst the group of us, we kind of had a little bit going on.
Yeah. It was kind of fun.
So talk about your elk.
So yeah, I drew that cow tag in 24. Kind of the same thing, or the same battle I've been fighting, just a scheduling issue. We did hunt deer the month before that tag was up. And same thing, I was kind of trying to squeeze a couple days here and squeeze a couple days there, and
we did get into some bucks though.
We did. But, definitely wasn't for the shortage of people, because we were
right. We were hunting with Sean and those guys.
Yeah, and yeah, that was awesome. Actually, that last day that we were there, that one weekend when Sean walked that ridge, and yeah, we were getting kind of excited because we'd see one buck and then all of a sudden, and we'd try and find him again, and then another one pop up, and they were just spikes. It wasn't anything crazy, but they'd pop up and we'd get really excited and start to pack up, and then we couldn't find it. So yeah, Sean and I spent the night or pretty much the evening on that side of the mountain. So yeah, we hunted deer that year, and then I had also drawn that cow tag in. Same thing, just kind of trying to squeeze days here, days there, and then just being able to have time to go out. So I think it was the second weekend that we went out. Is that correct?
Yes.
So we had hunted the first weekend and seen elk pretty much all around us, got into some elk. And then the second weekend that we were there, we were able to kind of find some spots to sit and kind of knew where they were going to be. And then it did get a little bit western. And so we got into some elk, and we were kind of following them off, and they had winded us. And so we had tried to chase after them. And eventually get over into this ridge into this gulch. And caught up to a different herd of elk, and then we were able to get within what was that shot? 537. 537.
That's as close as we were.
That was as close as we were. And probably the limitations of the gun we were shooting.
Yeah, man, it's shooting a 260 Remington, shooting 140 grain Burger leads at 28-60. I mean, that's. So, 500 yards on a game is pretty close, right? It's probably about as far as we want it.
Yeah. So yeah, 537. Put a good shot on her. Sounded good,
looked good,
but nothing really happened. And by this time, obviously, I got a little butt fever going. I'm getting a little shaky, and so the gun's moving around. I'm trying to get set again after taking the first shot, and I think you said, send another one or something along those lines. And my response was, which one is it? Because we had both thought that the first shot had connected. So we had kind of watched these elk move around, and they didn't know where the shot. They were kind of just curious as to what was going on, and then kind of moving around the same little finger that they were sitting on. And one of them then was facing downhill as the rest of the herd was feeding uphill.
Right.
And so watching her a little bit, she was face downhill. You had said, shoot that one that's facing downhill.
Yeah, because I'd kept the tabs on it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's. And so sent another round, same thing. Sounded good. We thought it was good. Well, it was good, but sounded good, but same thing, nothing happened. And so she kind of does a little step, but doesn't really go down. Doesn't even show signs that she's going to go down. And you had said hit her again. And so I had sent the third round.
And by this time, she turned around.
Yeah, so she was facing back uphill again, and then starting to move with the herd. Not really showing any signs of.
She wasn't moving well, but she just. Go ahead.
Yeah. So put the third round in her, and then same thing, just kind of took it. And I actually, after that third round had come up off the gun, and I looked at you. Totally wasn't even trying to conceal myself on the side of this mountain. I looked up and I was like, dude, anything? And your answer was no. And so we had sat there and watched her for a little bit, and probably, I don't know, 10 to 15 seconds maybe.
Yeah.
She'd kind of started to stumble and then took a tumble.
So yeah, we had basically belly crawled. We run across that mountain because we started that I ranged him at 900. So
yeah,
we run across that base and used the terrain to cover us. Once we ran out of terrain, we ran out of everything. We had sage to hide behind.
Mm-hmm.
So we belly crawled and got up to that one little scrubby ass mahogany. This one little scrubby ass piece of mahogany shrub sticking up in the middle of this. We used that as cover for the longest time.
Yeah.
Got over there, got set up. And I think they busted us at some point. They didn't know what we were, but they were uncomfortable with the movement they were seeing. We get over to that elk, and she finally tipped over and was done, and got over to her. And all three rounds were within 3 inches of each other. 2 on one side and 1 on the other.
Mm-hmm.
All behind the seam, behind the front shoulder, the seam behind the front shoulder, all three of them. And had destroyed, because I pulled the heart out for your wife.
Yeah.
Right? And I pulled the liver out for the gal up in McCall that wanted it. And the heart was intact, but everything else around it was mush.
Yeah.
Literally mush. So the bullet did their job. They just
took it like a champ.
Testament to how hardy those animals are. So we get her cut up, we get her packed out, or we start getting her packed out. We're looking at the same, and I ended up calling Dave and basically sent up the SOS. He actually packed up and came up from Caldwell.
Mm-hmm. Which is
2 hours.
Yeah. Hour and a half, 2 hours.
Hour and a half, 2 hours. Made the drive up, brought his pack.
Well, actually, there's a funny story too. You had started processing and kind of getting meat set aside and bags ready, and we were kind of looking at it. Well, actually, before we were kind of doing the math and what we thought we could do, and you had said, I think I tell Dave that maybe we'll be good. And then I was like, yeah, if we can do it. And probably, we got everything, all the meat off the animal in bags, getting ready to go. And we were kind of doing math again, trying to figure out what we were going to take. And you had said, oh, man, I really wish we'd had another guy. And I was like, well, did you tell Dave not to come? And you said, oh, well, no. And you pulled your phone out and you're, oh, he's so Dave had already made that decision to come.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool, because then we ended up, I took both shoulders down to the bottom so you didn't have to climb. Because let's be frank, that was kind of a hellhole.
Mm-hmm.
So I took both shoulders down so you didn't have to climb back up of the gulch that we were in, and then hiked back up to you, and then we both took a hind and split the loose meat. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we did a good pack out that evening. I think I shot her.
He ran down and grabbed both shoulders.
He did.
Yeah, we packed that out one shot.
And scared the living crap out of me. Too. Because I had taken those shoulders down to the bottom and then stashed them in a place that was relatively visible from both sides. And then I had gone back up. You and I had loaded up. I think you were already headed down for me with this, like after the hind and the loose meat. I headed down there and I was kind of trying to get. Actually, I took the shoulders down at the bottom and I slipped and fell down probably a good 15, 20 feet and rode this mudslide. Shoulder. Okay, well, I'm not going to go that way this time. And so I get down there and I ended up in like some pretty thick stuff that was just kind of rushing and rocking. A couple of trees had fallen and I was like, dang, this sucks also. I'd rather just done the mudslide. And so I'm getting down there and I think I had kind of hit a little bit of a struggle where I was just like, gosh, dang it, this sucks. And Dave goes, hey! And he was behind me. And I was like, oh my gosh, dude, what are you doing? By the way, I'm Colton. It's nice to meet you because I hadn't met him yet at that point. And so he's, but yeah, super chipper. And I was just like, where's the shoulders? All right, let's go. And then, yeah, him and his son, Hunter, both of them.
Mm-hmm. His 8-year-old at the time. Yeah. So we marched that thing out, got the truck, went back, put it in the cooler, let it hang for a week, cut it up the following week.
Well, actually, we were headed to the truck too. Remember, we got to the top. And you guys had stopped because I was, let's be honest, I was trailing. I was struggling a little bit. And I got up there with you guys and Dave's words were, you couldn't have just shot one of those ones because there was ones probably within 400 or 500 yards from it.
Yeah, up on the ridge.
In the evening, obviously.
On top. Right?
Yeah, up on top. But yeah.
And my answer to him was, and going back to you said it got Western. Yeah, that's where we started hunting this group.
Yeah. It was probably the group that we blew off the mountain.
And we kind of, you missed.
Oh, I wasn't good.
Yeah, I was good. Us, 204 yards.
Hey, but 537 was pretty good.
You redeemed yourself. So then, got that all cut up, filled your freezer for the year.
Yep. Still have enough meat from that, actually.
Yeah, you can F off.
Yeah, quite a bit.
If I mentioned freezer's empty.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. And then fast forward to this year. And this year we actually drew pretty good mule deer buck tags.
We did.
Yeah. Kind of a late not general season, but a late traditional season.
Yeah.
Not late, not like a late November.
But definitely a different time frame than most general seasons.
Yeah, than you're used to. So a little bit later start, a little bit later end, but not like a full on rut hunt. But we did get a little bit of pre-rut action, which was kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with some of the younger bucks that were running around with a bunch of those. So it was fun. It was a good time. So let's talk about your deer hunt.
So we had a weekend. Well, let's see. I was there Friday. Yeah. So I left here Thursday. Met you up there Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And then met you up there Thursday night. We hunted Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were, on Friday we got into, we were seeing animals the entire time. A lot
of critters, period.
Yeah. And actually that morning is the morning that we bumped those whitetails out of the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe 20 yards from where we were planning on sitting.
Yeah, they're bedded down right there.
Yeah.
On that glassy knob, yeah.
So yeah, I got into animals first thing on Friday morning, and then we were kind of seeing seeing animals, seeing deer everywhere and does, and we watched does for most that morning until probably like 9:30, 10. And then we found one buck that was kind of in its lone drainage that looked like a decent buck, and you had said, yeah, if I was you, I'd go after that buck. So obviously that's what I was doing.
Truth be told, that was a decent.
Yeah, it was. It was
by himself. Which also for that time of year, which this would have been the 20th
of November,
October,
October,
roughly the 20th of October, I think, somewhere.
Yeah,
that's the point. So, he's by himself, and the other little bucks, little forkies we've been watching, we're all just
And they were bouncing
chasing
all over the
does.
place.
Yeah,
It was
chasing
fun.
does. I mean, it's little baby youngster guys, right? But so that buck being by himself and where he was at, and the terrain that he was living in, I'm like, I could see blasting him up. I could see that was probably a pretty decent buck. So we sent you on a quest.
Yeah. So, well, we didn't mention too. My 6-year-old was with us. This was his first outing with us, on a hunt.
Yeah.
So he was kind of also trying to get used to things and experiencing kind of what the plan was and what we were doing, what we were there to do. And so he had stayed back with you, and I had tried to put a stock on that buck.
Well, I didn't. That was going to be a tough march for him.
It was, yeah, and
country.
It was. There was a couple of fingers that we could see on the way from where we were sitting that we could see on the way to that to the spot where we had last seen him.
Mm-hmm.
And there was probably 5 or 6 more drainages that I had.
Yeah, they're pretty.
So that we couldn't see from where we were.
Just a long walk. That's steep.
So yeah, I made a walk after. Tried to make stock off of this buck, and then ended up picking up a whitetail shed on my way over there, which might add his first shed that I have ever found.
No way.
Yeah, don't think I told you that. So yeah, I make it over there. Just kept telling myself to try and stay high on the mountain. That way I could hopefully prevent some winds from blowing up the drainage where I thought he was going to be. And I got to a spot where I pretty much sat the same elevation from where we had last seen him on the opposite side of the drainage. So I was in a pretty good spot and didn't see him when I first got there. I kind of I left my stuff where I had posted up, and then I kind of tried to make a little bit of a hike up a little bit higher so that I could see down into some brush just to see if I could see where he was bedded. And then couldn't really get any good angles that was different from the first spot I had started. And so I went back there and obviously trying to stay out of like a good view or stay up in the rocks, stay up in the trees and stuff. And so I had sat back down there and just kind of was going to wait him out until it got dark or until something else, or until something had happened. So that was my plan, because we kind of both knew what the plan was as far as like, we'll see at the truck at dark.
Right, because he's going to come out the magic hour. This was I kind of figured.
Yeah, so
the challenge we had a front moving in.
Yeah, a pretty big front that neither one of us really anticipated. So I had, it was probably almost 4:30 in the afternoon. Same thing. I'm still just kind of waiting it out, laying low, blasting up the brush, trying to see if anything's moving. And this whole wind front blows in, and it was like a solid 40 minutes at full value. And that had blown for maybe 20 minutes. And there was some brush crashing, and like 2 flocks of birds fly out of the bottom of this. And so after I heard the brush crashing, it's like, oh no. And I watched the birds fly out. And of course, one was about where the brush was crashing, and then one was a little bit farther up. And I was like, yeah, that's me probably. So I had made the choice to walk back to you guys and hopefully spend the evening glassing, see if we could see any other things. Because I figured he wasn't going to come back out, at least my direction, that evening. And so, yeah, maybe it started to make my way back, and then I get to a vantage point where I could see, or where I could have seen where we were sitting in the morning, and you guys weren't there. What's going on? I was like, where'd they go? They're not at the truck. I could see the truck. Nobody's in the truck. Where'd they go? And early that morning, probably maybe an hour and a half after I had left you guys, there was some shots that had rang off, but it was from where I was way far away from. And so once I had like noticed that you guys had moved, I was like, there's no way they thought that was me that shot. And in my head, I was like, because I wouldn't shoot that many times, because it was 3 shots. And then I was like, oh, I'd definitely shoot that many times. And so I was like, I can't use that as an excuse. But no, I was like, oh, maybe maybe they did. And then I was like, well, if they would have went past the truck, kind of trying to figure out where you guys were going. And then I like, just kind of like thinking about like, well, like they thought that was me wherever they go. And I get to another vantage point. I look up, you guys are probably on the tallest little peak, this little knob, the hill above all of the stuff that I had just, both you and my 6-year-old. And I was like, dang, dude, like
It was a climb.
yeah. But looking up there, I was like kind of excited. I guess was able to get out and hike a little bit.
It was probably every bit of 500-600 feet above the floor of that. So we had come off our glassing knob, going down the 300-400 feet into that bottom, and it imagine everybody's in the audience rolling their eyes 300-400 feet, and walked across this basin, and then basically up another 500 or 600 feet with a 6-year-old in tow.
Yeah. So yeah, we had. I think you had glassed me up, and I was shaking my head like that. There's like nothing happened, and then you guys had headed back down, and we had kind of meeting up, pretty much towards the truck, and you're like, what are you doing? What happened? Why aren't you over there? And I had told you, and you're like, oh, well, that'll do it.
Wow.
And then I was like, yeah. So I just figured that I'd come back and we could spend the evening glassing and see what else we could see. And you're like, well, that's probably wise because he's done it anyways. And Gus was pretty pooped at that point.
So. Yeah, he did good all day. I mean, I said, and it was starting to just like anything else. The wind, was kind of cold, and it takes a little bit out of you. And he's 6, right? And it was blowing across the top of that ridge. And
like I had said, it had blown for a good 20-25 minutes, and
it was pretty rude across the top of
that buck had blown out, and I sat there for another 20 minutes with the wind after that had happened. And I was like, that's what the 40 minutes hit. I was like, yeah, I've been sitting here for 40 minutes. And it's still, blowing. So, and it had a bite to it.
So we come off, we blasted the truck for a bit, give him a meal. No, that was the next day.
There we go. He had Oreos.
Yeah, we had the Oreos. We had the Oreos where he did.
Oh no, the peanut butter.
But got him some snacks going and hung out and glass from the truck. Headed back to the house. So, and for those that don't know, I'm actually live pretty close to this unit that we're hunting in, and it's about an hour from the house, so it made a day trip doable. So we get back, we get up, and then Alex, my daughter, shows up that night. Or I guess she was already there that afternoon, but the plan was for us to turn around and go back into that same spot in the morning. So that turned out to be prophetic.
Yeah, it worked.
It did work.
Same thing though. We got up there that morning, pretty close to where we had jumped those whitetails previous morning.
Right at first light, we were on that glass,
and listening to coyotes the whole way up.
Well, remember they were on the hill.
Yeah. Right above where we were sitting again. So, but same thing. I think we were into animals almost instantly.
Yeah. So we get up on that knob, and as soon as we roll up in there, I would start blasting some of the places I know deer normally to be in that canyon, and sure enough, like others. And there's white butts.
Yep.
And start counting white butts, and there's 10. There's another 5 deer over there. In this brush patch, there's 4 over here. And we start counting, there's like 28 deer in this brush patch. And they bust out of this thing, and out comes a bear. And pretty sure my comment to you guys was, we had to get after them deer. We were starting to make the plan. That bear comes out. I'm like, oh, I need a date with that thing.
Yeah.
I wanted that bear. I want to go after that bear pretty bad. I'm like, I love you guys enough where.
Well, I think Alex and I both, I looked at her and I said, you have a tag? And he said, I do. And I said, do it. And she goes, that would be so cool.
Yeah.
So we were both rooting for it.
Yeah. We were there to deer hunt. So I'm like, I love you guys enough. I'll skip the bear to this time. But
yeah. Well, and I got a video of that bear running down the mountain too. And I think at one point in there, you had said, you guys keep an eye on those deer. I'm going to watch the bear. And I'm still watching the entire time.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about the bear.
Yeah.
So we make a plan. I kind of know
2 ways to go about it. Either we march up the mountain after him, which
was doable, but a poke.
it's 1,600 yards there plus the elevation.
Yeah.
Or we get back to the truck and we go around and we go basically out the trailhead into the rim rocks and get a buck. All right, so and time wise, we were longer to get to where we needed to be in the truck, but we ended up being able to get
right. Yeah, and some of that planning and that discussion was kind of on where we thought they were going to go. Because there was kind of
gamble.
Yeah. If they would have continued, more to the right and down in the brush, then they could have walked up that drainage.
Out that
drainage. If they would have gone up in the saddle like we had planned, or if we had wanted them to, then they'd be right there.
And I thought that they were actually going to go through that saddle and get into either side of that, into that burn, and disappear into that.
Yeah, that stuff stick on that side.
Mm-hmm. So we get you guys up there, you and Alex both. Then what?
So we get up there.
I was spectating from another spot.
You had kind of taken the role of Gus, and taken the role on of watching Gus. Once we had got up there and we had kind of all loaded up, whatever, and Alex and I had planned just to kind of walk off of the one side of the saddle. It was kind of a set of cliffs that would kind of look down into the saddle, almost look back into the saddle.
Yeah, like around and back.
Yeah. And it was actually a pretty sweet spot and be able to look out. So we kind of moseyed our way around some trees and some brush and kind of got to the edge. And as soon as I got to the edge, there was does. And that's probably 3, 4, 5 cleared around and stuff. And so I had, signaled back to Alex, and I was like, stop, there's deer here. Like, they're right here. They came the way that we wanted them to. And so we had kind of sat there, and then Alex and I were both kind of looking for bucks and trying to see if there was any in the bunch that we could see. But the one tree that we were kind of set up by, great cover. They had no idea we were there. But it kind of cut off on both sides. Like, it was either on one side of the tree, you'd be able to kind of see back into the canyon or back into the saddle like we were talking about. And then down to the right, you could get a better look down. And so it was kind of just trying to find a good vantage to be able to see these deer. And so Alex had sat there, and I told her, I was like, Alex, I'm going to walk out this way and see if I can't look back and see if there's a buck. And so I had kind of walked off to the right side of these cliffs and looked down, and same thing. I was checking does, or checking deer, and looking for antlers. Does. That's all we were seeing at first. From the other side of the mountain in the morning, we had known that it was bucks.
Who knows?
So it was more so about us just trying to find the bucks, because we knew that they were going to be there, and not blow it out. And so we were trying to be quiet and just kind of get a good vantage to see these, just to see what animals were down there. And so I had looked off of that right side for a little bit, kind of back in, and then I'd made my way back over to Alex. Same thing, kind of stayed up on the cliff, kind of out of the way, and made my way back to Alex and kind of talked to her and like, hey, you seen anything? What did you see? She said, well, I saw these does and I saw those does. There's a doe over there. They keep moving this way. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go over here on this side and see if I can't look down from the other, kind of look back into the saddle and kind of look down the drainage. And so same thing I was doing on the other side, just kind of got set up into a shooting position and was just checking deer for antlers. So they were kind of in the bottom. There was a couple up on the other side of the drainage, and they were kind of down, moseying their way up to the saddle. And then checking does, I got to follow the 4th or 5th deer, and there was antlers, and I felt oh baby. And so, being that I was in the position to shoot, and that Alex is kind of still on the other side, her and I had actually talked about that prior to, like, kind of game planning what we would do, and she was like, see if and that was her and I had already discussed that, so agreed upon that. And so, yeah, waited for that buck. I found a buck, and then waited for that buck just to kind of stop and give me a side to shoot at. And I put a shot on him that one shot, and he ended up tumbling down the mountain.
So actually, it was a pretty good shot. Nice job. Nicely done. 260 yards.
181.
181.
Yeah. So a little bit higher than I wanted to, but that gun sighted it too. So it's probably a little high hold, but.
So then we get down to him, and this was your first shot at cutting one up.
Yeah. So
On your own, 'cause-
on my own. Yeah. Because
Not to spoiler alert. This is the point that shortly thereafter, my daughter Alex shot a buck. These two doubled up. Well, I'm gonna get her on and have that. We'll talk about it later.
So yeah. I shot this buck. And I think you had a vantage point. You could see me, right?
Mhm.
From where I was shooting. I think you had told me that you were like, "Gus, hold on, I think your dad's gonna shoot something." He set up. He probably saw me do a little celebration.
We heard it.
So I was pretty excited. The biggest thing for me biggest thing for me to like for that hunt to be a part of was for Gus to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And Gus is my son. He's my 6-year-old. So I don't think I can explain how bad I wanted a buck to go down with him there.
Right.
Just to kind of, do the thing and make it fun and like kind of really show him the ropes as to like, this is what we're doing. And
these are the reasons why.
And these are the reasons. And so I think for me, I probably wanted that more than he wanted it. But that was a big deal for me. And so I was just honestly pumped that I was able to do that with him there, especially for his first time out with us. So yeah, we get down to that buck, and it was going to be my first time cutting up a deer by myself. I've had plenty of practice with you and some of the deer you've killed over the years. The first buck I shot, we did together. That cow that I shot we did together. Same thing, a couple of cows that I've done with you, and just I've seen meat and I know how to do it. I just haven't really the knife hasn't just only been in my hands.
Right.
So yeah, I wasn't doing it myself. You and Alex were headed down the mountain after another buck, and then so it was just me and Gus. And
tell me about that.
Super cool.
Let's back that up just a skosh, because we started this hunt with him, and he'd made a comment that one of his little schoolmates had basically told him that the hunting was bad.
Yeah.
And so we kind of had to explain the reasons why, and kind of go through the explanation of, it's time outside, it's time with family, it's meat freezer, it's self-sustainment, all the the different talking points that we would normally go through with anybody else, but just doing it at the level of 6-year-old.
Yeah.
So that the information he's getting from his classmate is not discounted, but certainly point counterpoint.
Yeah.
Right. So we get down to this, we all get down to this buck because we go down there together.
Yeah.
Do grip and grins, take some photographs with you and Alex and Gus and stuff, and the whole 9 yards. And so go from that point forward.
So from that point forward,
having that frame point.
Yeah. So we take the pictures. You guys are headed off, and then I don't know. For me, I don't know. I had an overwhelming amount of confidence, I would say, in cutting up this buck, just because of the experience.
The amount of time we've done it.
The amount of time we've done it. So that for me, I felt like was kind of a big deal, because then it was I had the confidence to be able to show him and tell Gus this is
right. You've been around more animals killed than you've done yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. But significant.
Yeah.
It's not your first rodeo. No. This is your first at this particular
situation. So yeah, we got down there. I'd carved out the hillside that we were on was pretty steep. It was a pretty good trek down there without sliding on your butt. I think Gus stood on his butt the entire 400 yards it was down there.
Mhm.
And so they'd taken a rock and kind of like cut out a seat for him in the side of the hill. Luckily, this buck was kind of like laying on some in a rock bed, and so it's super steep, but he was kind of stuck there, and we stacked some rocks under him so he wouldn't roll. And then so I'd cut the seat off for Gus with a rock, and he had just parked it there for 2.5 hours that I was cutting on this buck, however long it took me. And we just talked, and it was conversation that I wouldn't trade for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of the environment, what we were doing, being together, and doing the things that I have always wanted him to do, or just being able to share that moment together.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he sat there on the side of the mountain, crisscross applesauce, and took meat. I took meat from the deer, and I handed it to him, and he was putting it in the bags. And for him, I thought that would be a good hands-on learning thing, as far as like, yes, like this is me physically doing this, me physically helping my dad do this. And so, but yeah, we had, I think, probably one of the probably one of the best times that I've had. And so, but I did get that comment. So that comment from the schoolmate had been with you, not with. That was when I was going looking.
That's right.
Looking at the other book that was there the day before. And so you had mentioned that comment to me, and I was like, that's kind of weird. And then obviously, me knowing that you had kind of had explained things. And so I got that comment again. And I was just kind of like, kind of said the same things, like, this is what we're doing, or this is why we're doing this. This is why, this is this, and this is that, right? Totally soaked it up. It's all about it. In his words, we're doing this because we love the outdoors, and we're doing this because we love our family, and because we want to have food to eat.
Mm-hmm. Profound moment. I mean, in the lifespan of a 6-year-old. I mean, and coming from as a parent, it's certainly a watershed.
Mm. Cool. So yeah, we cut that buck up and then got it all in bags. About to pack load it up. The terrain that we were on was steep enough that I had actually helped him a portion up the mountain before I had put my pack on. Just because I knew that we were going to have to cross that rock bed, and I wasn't going to let him do that alone. So, I'd kind of helped him across that. We had found another good sitting rock. He had sat there, and I was like, "Okay, I'm going to go get my stuff, and I'll be right back." He could still see me, so it wasn't like I was going anywhere crazy. And then from there, it was just a trek up the mountain.
Just a slog with a 6-year-old.
Yeah, just a slog with a 6-year-old. Yeah. So I put that pack on, got back over to him, and then from there there wasn't really a trail to start with to get up there. There was a small game trail we ended up finding up towards the top, but I was like, "Hey, buddy, we're just gonna zigzag. We just got to get to the truck. It's not like that's all we got to do." I was trying to dumb it down as far as just get to the truck. That's all I got. And so, but I had broken it down into rocks and bushes and flowers and stuff. And so, like, "Hey, see that flower right there? Yeah, go to that flower." So then we would both, hike to that flower. We were kind of zigzagging our way up the mountain. "Hey, you see that rock right there? Which one? That one? No, that one." We were kind of talking it through and just kind of spending time together, and talking it through. And he's like, "Well, no, I don't like that. Let's okay,
yeah, whatever.
Just keep going. Hurry, because this pack's heavy." And so, and I didn't mention that I deboned that entire deer, and then
right, because you had to do it down shot with a 6-year-old.
Well, I didn't want to do it down.
Yeah, there was no way.
No,
I mean, it's just
so. Heavy pack,
and we had discussed that.
And a 6-year-old. Yeah, heavy pack and a 6-year-old, chugging up the mountain. We got probably about halfway, and it's like, "Dude, you want to listen to some music?" Because he's a singer. He likes his music.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Yeah, put this song on." Okay. So we listened to that song. And then whatever song came on next, he was just singing his way up. Perfect. And we get, I don't know, probably within 120 yards, and you can see like the pain start to set into him. He's like, "Gosh, dang, I'm kind of tired." to the point where he actually said, "I'm gonna take a sit down break," and I was like, "Okay." And I said, "Me too." And I went to sit down. I was like, "Yeah, never mind. I'm not gonna sit down."
I mean,
So I was like, "But you can just go right there." And so then we get up there, and he was kind of chugging, getting tired.
And for people out there, it may have only been 400 yards to the truck, but it's about a 60-degree slope. It's not,
Yeah, it was pretty steep.
it's not.
It was pretty steep. So yeah, chugging along, we get probably within 40 yards, and we could just see the door jams on the pickup.
You see the cab a little bit.
Yeah, and he was kind of at that moment. Just, this sucks. Like, I'm tired. I kind of was it kind of almost hit a point, right?
At the wall.
At the wall. And I was like, "Dude, look, right there. The truck's right there." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And literally takes off sprinting up the mountain. And I was like, "Dude, seriously?"
Where was this?
So, and yeah, we got up to the top.
But unbeknownst to you, Alex and I are watching this from the other side of that mountain. From the other side
Oh, yeah?
of the drop.
Yeah.
We can see.
Yeah. Before you got to her buck, or after?
No,
we
while
already
we're
there?
working on it. We
Yeah.
can see you guys while we're there
Oh,
working.
that's
on it.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Did you see him run up the mountain?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I was like, "Seriously, dude?" And I got up there to the top. He's standing at the gate, like, "Are you gonna open?"
nothing but net.
So yeah, we get up there, take the pack off, and I was like, "All right, dude, we gotta go pick up Alex and Papa." So we hopped in the truck and drove down the mountain. Got to a spot that you and I had discussed already, as kind of a meetup spot or the pickup spot. Dropped the tailgate on the pickup. I made a mountain house meal for him.
That's what it was.
Spaghetti and meatballs. And you could tell that was like the best thing that little 6-year-old has ever had in his life. Just because he was already tired, probably a little bit thirsty.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't really have anything to eat that day because we were kind of go
Busy.
in the morning. Mm-hmm. And minus snacks here and there. Yeah, he was hungry. He ate almost that whole mountain house. Yeah. Yeah, we were there
sitting there with a spoon in hand and just shoving that in his face.
Oh, so give it a chocolate pudding.
Yeah, when they're rolled up, and he's got this big grin on his face. It's pretty funny, actually. Alex and I coming off the mountain with heavy packs, and he's got this kid with this spoon in his mouth.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, out of that whole thing, or that whole hunting trip, for me, I would say that the one memory that I'll probably keep forever, ingrained in the back of my mind, is when he had told me that we could kind of hit, and we were having a conversation and talking about what we were doing and just talking about school and just having like regular conversation. We'd hit like a pause in the conversation. He's like, "Dad, I am having so much fun."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Yeah, buddy?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "We're just, out here, we got a buck, we're hanging out, we're in the outdoors. I'm just having so much fun." And for me, that is pretty profound, just because that was the experience that I had wanted for him. So,
well, and that was kind of, you came into it later in life, but that was kind of the impetus, the same set of goals and things that I had in you involvements.
Yeah.
Some years ago. So cool. So what's up next? What's next for you?
Well, we have some points in some other states.
An undisclosed state.
An undisclosed state.
Some points in that we may have been working with Jaden Bales on.
Yes. And stuff.
So
I think for now that's the plan.
We were going to put in for another undisclosed state, but I had made a foobar on my points. And when I bought my points last year, I bought all my points but the one I needed. So I'm behind one.
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
Yeah, I just figured it out here about a month ago, and I went, And
well, that's your bad.
Consequently, I did that. Alex too. I did both bars at the same time.
So I have more points than you?
Yeah. Nice. On that one
Nice.
on that one, species, yeah. F off. Yeah, you do.
I love it.
You do have more points.
So yeah, that pretty much encompasses my hunting season this year. However, you've got a cow tag.
Well, I'm leaving for, as soon as we get done with this pod, I'm gonna go take a nap. But I'm leaving for Virginia in the morning
Mm-hmm.
on an early morning flight, provided, knock on wood, the TSA and air traffic controller show up to work.
Yeah.
It's we'll touch and go at the moment. We'll see. But I'm headed there for 8 days, so we'll see. And then when I get back, I got an elk tag, and we've got Alaska Dave and Big Sean coming.
Yep.
So you're gonna come up, spend a couple of days, I think.
Mm-hmm. Has to meet,
hang out.
Yep. I won't have a tag in my pocket. Sure, I'll be there to help.
Yeah, sure. So, and then next year we're looking at. I think honestly, I'd like to see. We got to see what. We already have our plan for the undisclosed state.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to look at the season dates.
Yes.
And then we need to drive our Idaho results based off of the season dates. And then I'm putting in so my days of controlled hunts in Idaho are numbered.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've talked about
I'm going to be your Sherpa for a while. You're an Alex's Sherpa for a while.
Yes.
Because I'm putting in for moose, starting and try to get my bull tag drawn. And in Idaho, once you put in for moose, sheep, or goat, you can't put in for anything else. But that's okay.
Yeah. General seasons for you.
I'll be hunting general season stuff. It's fine. And if there's any leftover tags, I can play that by ear. But I think the two of you should put in for that unit by the house.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking.
I'll edit that out, but thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. that one unit.
That one unit, the undisclosed unit.
The undisclosed unit. I know that we have close to my house.
Where do you live?
Yeah. Idaho Falls. Dick. So I think that's our plan next year. And then from then on out, it's just we've got points in that other state we need to get caught up on. And then and then we've got Alaska Dave. So at some point in the next couple of years, we've got that caribou.
Yeah.
We've got the caribou coming up. Cool. Anything to add?
Cool. I don't think so.
I'll ask you some of the same questions I ask everybody, but some of it we've already kind of have the answer to. But what's your favorite species to hunt? Why?
It's a tricky question because if I say the wrong one, you're gonna
get
upset.
No.
No, I think mule deer for sure.
Mule deer.
Just because of the terrain they like, the time of year it is. If you get into them, the abundance of them that you can find.
If you draw a good tag,
yeah. If you draw a good tag and you can get into them, the abundance you can find. I think that's it for me.
Yeah, I would concur with that. But it's interesting. I mean, obviously, elk is food for me.
Mm-hmm.
I hunt predominantly cow tags because that's what fills the freezer every year. But I've kind of gotten into this whitetail kick and mountain whitetails. Specifically, not your agricultural whitetails, but actually mountain buck. Spend some time, get some education, some learning from Troy Pottinger and others around the Idaho and other places. I like getting into that a little bit.
Yeah.
But mule deer, it takes you places, some unbelievable places.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty spectacular. So, I think we've dispensed with your favorite memory at this point, so I think we've nailed that one.
Yeah. Although close second favorite memory,
the
cheeseburger after my first.
Oh God, that's right. I forgot about that.
That was a good cheeseburger.
Yeah, wouldn't have had a cheeseburger after the deer. It's on the way home. That's funny. All right. Well, anything to add?
No. Thanks for dragging me on here, dude.
Yeah, I think what I'd like to do is the holidays, probably get Alex on here and kind of revisit some of this, but from her perspective.
Yeah.
Talk about her book a little bit.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome.
So, cool. Right on, man. Thanks.
Yep.
That's
Thanks.
Pod.
Live out here for the rest of my days.